episode that you directed.
Yes, there it is, the episode I directed.
How did... Microphone. You really want me to take this? I can take it. Magnus Goes Crazy, so how did you manage doing that?
Crazy, I mean.
Directing that and doing such a strange performance.
Well, I was very stressed out about the directing, so the strange performance was simply distress. No acting required. No, it was really difficult, and I have to say I relied really heavily on my stand-ins in terms of setting up the shots. I relied really heavily on the director of photography to make sure that I know exactly how I want to shoot the show before I go in and shoot, and I'm a very visual thinker that way. And so I knew where I wanted the cameras, what angles, and then I would rehearse it with my stand-in, and then I relied super heavily on Robin. I would like pull him aside and just go, okay, go through this with me, and is it making sense? Because you have so many things going on in your head. So you rely really heavily on your castmates and just think, okay, like, can we run the lines? Can we do this? Can we do that? But then when it comes right down to it, there's certain stamps of approval. And sometimes Martin Wood would come down to set, and I would say, do not touch my shot. Don't change a thing. Just tell me if the performance is coming across. Don't move don't get away from the camera. Yeah. So it's a big support network. I mean, the biggest thing, prepared. You have to be prepared. As a director, as an actor, and then, hope that you don't fall off the edge of the cliff that you built for yourself.
I was going to ask the same question, but I'll...
Okay, well, see the thing...
You've now, you act, you've got a producer's hat, you've got a director's hat. All together it must be a little chaotic.
That's why I now have a twitch.
How easy is it to separate, or difficult to separate those parts at different parts of the production?
I'm getting better at it. I'm getting better at compartmentalizing what needs to be done when. It's because you always wear the producer hat. I mean, even if I'm walking through set and I'm getting ready to shoot a scene and I'll see somebody, wasting money somehow. I'll be like, so I'm always wearing the producer hat thing, but I have to take that hat off and become Magnus. In as much for myself as for my fellow actors, because they don't need to feel like they're acting opposite the producer of the show. They need to feel like they're acting opposite an acting partner. So you have to learn to just shut it off. And luckily, I've become pretty good at it. I've become pretty good at which is the same thing as when I drive home. It's like the show goes, and then I become a mummy, And by the time I hit my front door, it doesn't matter what I do for a living.
I guess you've progressed from that. It's sort of just being one of an ensemble or the lead or whatever you were doing, and just having that role.
Yeah.
Are you enjoying this more now, doing all of this at once, or are there some days you want to say, I just want to go back to being one of the...
There are days when I just want to be an actor.
But you wouldn't go back. You want to.
This learning curve of doing the show, of producing it, of getting it on its feet, of trying to find the financing, the struggles that we have gone through to make Sanctuary, because it's not a studio show. And I can't stress enough what a difference that makes when you're trying to create and make and finance your own product. It's not like MGM came a knocking and said, here's $2 million an episode, have a good time. It's like you going to Australia saying, how much would you like to give us for a license fee? Okay, add that to Italy, and what have we got? 2 scenes? Okay, trying to, it's a huge headache, but a wonderful, wonderful gift at the same time, because I'm learning more about the business side of it. I forgot what your question was, but...
You want to keep going in this direction.
Absolutely. And I think creating your own product is a great gift, too. That not to say that if Sanctuary got canceled tomorrow and somebody came up to me and said, here's a great part, do you want to be in our series? That I would say no. Of course I would consider it. But this position I'm in right now it's pretty spectacular. And I'm learning, so I feel creatively challenged. And I'm scared a lot of the time. I'm scared because I don't, there's a lot of unknowns and variables, and not all the puzzle pieces fit together all the time, so you got to be quick on your feet and find solutions, and I'm loving that. Cool. Bailey.
season 8 of Stargate, when all that, like Richard Dean Anderson and Tuawapu and all them left, was it like, do you think it changed the chemistry of everyone?
Yes. Yes. Did you hear what Bailey asked? She asked about when season 8 of Stargate, when Richard Dean Anderson left and Terrell and then we brought in new actors. Did it change the chemistry? Do I feel that it changed the chemistry of the show? And the answer is absolutely. I think that I think it was very interesting, and I think it was a big risk. But I did at times feel like I was on Fargate or Starscape. And that is no disrespect whatsoever to Ben or Claudia, because they're both amazing people, and they brought something so fresh and interesting to the show. But it didn't feel like Stargate anymore. It felt like it was leaning towards becoming a different show. Having said that, I think that that's kind of what keeps things interesting, and they brought a different audience to it. Yeah, see, there you go. And that was great fun. But yeah, the chemistry, things changed, absolutely. And losing Rick was like it's a bit of a body blow. I mean, even though it was time for him, he needed to go do what he did, and he needed to be with his family, and it was absolutely the right thing. It still felt like the end of an era on Stargate.
Have you seen Farscape before?
I haven't seen a lot of episodes. I think I've probably seen about 5 or 6.
Did you enjoy dressing up in the makeup?
Loved it. And I went to Claudia and I was like, okay, tell me a little bit about her. What does she do? She's kind of insect, like she does these sudden moves, and so after I got into the makeup and the costume and then wig and everything, I went up to Claudia and Ben and I was like, and I did my little impersonation and they were like, yeah, you're good.
Did you at all?
I haven't yet. We've been at a convention once together and I was being ushered somewhere and I saw her and I went to go to say hi and I got like, JJ! Yeah, so no, I have not actually had the pleasure of...
We showed a photo a couple of years ago and she's like, oh, she has boobs. I got painted on.
What was it like being a puppet?
Oh, fun. Yeah, the puppets, we love the puppets. We actually we filmed the scene as actors so that the puppeteers could then match our movements for the puppets. So instead of, Carter typing at a computer or whatever.
And then throwing out the line.
Yeah, we did the lines, but we actually filmed the entire scenes that the puppets were going to do. But instead, because we knew we were going to be played by puppets, we sort of, so I was like, we were giving them the puppet version of ourselves. It's really fun. It's really fun. Yeah. Hi there.
How was it working with Richard Dean Anderson?
I have to say it was such a pain. It was lovely from day one, from the audition. He's a great guy. He's a cultural icon, right? He's MacGyver. Everyone knew who MacGyver was. And I spoke much later. I only much later told him that I had never seen an episode of MacGyver. It was like 2 years into the series, so I thought I was pretty safe. But and my only frame of reference was from watching The Simpsons. Marge's sister, MacGyver. So I wasn't as nervous of him as perhaps I should have been, but he's just got a great irreverent sense of humor. He's a genius. He's a really, really smart man. And he doesn't take himself too seriously. And that our cast bonded so quickly. Michael, Christopher, and I actually became friends at the audition before we even knew whether we were going to get the parts. The three of us hung out. And it was literally, see you later, hope I see you in Vancouver. And then the three of us were like, well, hey. And then Rick, he also was producing the show as well. And he's a goof. In fact, at times I would use the word idiot with a lot of love. But there are times when, you can make fun as if you're number one on the call sheet, you can sort of, like he could do whatever he wanted and nobody would call him on it. But for Michael, Christopher, and I, it was like, if we tried to do what Rick did by being goofy, we'd be like, guys, we're wasting time, we gotta go. And then Rick would say something goofy and we'd all be like, right, TV star. Got it. Yeah, but he cracked us up all the time. And I think what was interesting is over the course of Stargate, Jack became more like Rick than Jack. You know, it was like, you know, I actually finally at one point I was like, yeah, it's almost like there's no acting required. Just put on a uniform and I'm Jack. Okay, but it worked. That kind of irreverence, that kind of jokiness, totally worked. Yeah. Hi.
I want to know anything about how you got Colorado in. Like, how was it casting Colorado? Why him? Or?
The beauty of Sanctuary is that we all have a lot of friends who are in the business, and when a part comes up, and at any given time, anyone is welcome to put forward one of their friends. So Robin and Carlo know each other really well. They're great friends. And this part came up, and Robin went upstairs, and he goes, guys, Carlo Rota. And I knew Carlo from acting classes in Toronto years and years and years and years ago. And so that's how we cast him. Hey, are you available the week, you know? So, which is part of what makes the Sanctuary family so much fun, is we're working with people we know, people we love, even, you know, people we've heard about. And then if we like you, then you come back. So Carlo did episode 4. We love him so much he's coming back. So the same with Brian Markinson, who plays Addison in season 4. Such a great guy, so fun to have around, and I can't tell you what a difference that makes when you're shooting like a 16-hour day. To actually have somebody you want to hang out with, huge.
So you didn't like Shanks?
We didn't like Shanks at all. What a pain. What a pain. No, the funny thing is with Michael is, because we made very specific choices. When Michael said, I want to do an episode of your show, but I don't want it to be all about you and I. Like, it's got to, you know, it would be the Sam and Daniel show. We really wanted to keep it separate. So I was like, yep, absolutely. He talked to Damien. He was like, no, if I'm going to do Sanctuary, it's got to, you know. And we made it work. Sadly, Michael and I barely got to do anything together. But then as we're getting closer to the time where we're going to shoot the car blowing up, I was like, how can you get out of this? And then Michael afterwards comes up to me and he goes, you didn't see it, did you? And I said, see what? He goes, there's a little flash just before the explosion went off. That was me. I was like, man, you're good. And he goes, I know. I'm thinking I've got a spin-off series. Michael, my friend, you may just have an idea. I mean, it is, of course, sci-fi, and we also do revisionist history, and we go back in time, so anything could happen.
No one really dies in sci-fi.
No one dies in sci-fi.
Why don't you bring them back?
Exactly. I found a way to cure you. Really? Just need a little bit of plastic surgery.
Did you find it awkward when you had to act like you were really sick or something?
Yeah, Bailey asked if I found it awkward when you have to act like you're really sick. There's a point where you kind of feel a bit dumb sometimes, to be honest. I mean, especially like if you've been shot, and there was one episode in particular where Ben and I don't know, we were in one of the villages towards the end, and I can't remember the name of the episode, but I got shot, and he sort of talks me through it. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and there's so many, Line in the Sand. Thank you. I'm just going to carry you with me for a minute. But you're emoting like creating line. Cut. What? I thought I was doing pretty. You know, and more angst and more this, and we need more blood on our arms, and we need. And then you hyperventilate because you're like often if you're injured, you're like. Which has happened to me. I've become very close to passing out. Yeah. Martin's always like, breathe him in. I'm like, cut, one more. Yeah. But more often than not, you just feel sometimes you feel a little bit dumb. That's when you have to just go inside your head and forget that there's all these people watching you. Yeah.
Will we ever find out what happened in the 113 years?
Yes. You will find out what happened in the 113 years, but you will not find out until the very last scene of the last episode of season 4. But, in our defense, it's incredibly clever.
You're not going to
say it sucks either.
No, but it is. It's really quite remarkable because that was one of the things that I asked was, how do we explain this? Come on, you guys. We painted ourselves into the biggest corner. And Damien's like, no, there was a tidal wave coming towards Earth. We got out of that. Yeah. And all right, we did that. Yeah. But it's really interesting, and it's Will eventually who figures it out. But there's a lot of choices that are made throughout the 4th season that people will question, that don't necessarily make sense, so you might feel at points in season 4 that Magnus has completely lost the plot. But I just want to assure you that shit happens. By the end of the last... What's that?
If you tell us, we won't tweet it.
Yeah. Okay, so what happens is... Now I'm onto this intrawebby thing.
I won't put this online, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. Filming guy.
Did you ever wonder why on Stargate, every time you got a new ship, it blew up?
Yes. Exactly. And when whenever we'd have to deal with the government agencies who are like, the Stargate program's too expensive, we're shutting it down. I'm like, no kidding, we keep blowing up ships. That's like gazillions of dollars.
And no one ever pointed that out to us, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's just a cool vis effect to watch that happen.
I've got a better question. Why did Carter have so much bad luck with men?
Why did Carter have so much bad luck with men?
It's because she was supposed to be with Jack.
There you go. I think that Carter was not as evolved as she's focused so much on her career. I can do a semi-serious answer. And she wasn't really evolved. I don't think she came into her own as a woman until a few years into SG-1. And that's why she was able to have that crazy romantic relationship with Pete. But at the heart of it all, yeah, she should have been with Jack.
He didn't die though.
He didn't.
No.